You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
And I'm Clint. Today's episode is brought to you by Run Your Pool. More on them shortly. And also, this podcast is not brought to you by Mr. Manfred and the jeopardy he has put these guys in of raising a World Series banner on opening day. So I hate you, and I wish you were not part of baseball at all.
Hate you all. Every single person affiliated with this so-called sport that is baseball. T's and P's to everyone who likes baseball.
What we do love is we love that's you, by the way. We love you as our listener.
Was me.
Stop.
Was me.
Stop. Don't stop. We love you as a listener. If you found us on on YouTube, glad you're here.
We on the Facebook now?
No, we're not.
Broadcasting live on Facebook? Somebody's stealing my identity right as we speak, even just now, stealing all my private information?
That is 100% certain. Somewhere in the world is stealing your identity, Daniel, right this second. I know that for a fact. If you're over on
put it right down here, like this is my identity. You don't even have to try to steal it. Literally written right underneath me.
I'm trying to do the intro. Would you stop? If you are listening to us on podcasts, thanks for following us wherever you listen to podcasts, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Download, subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review. Get a hold of us over on the Twitter machine. All of that's in our bio. You can find us over there. Daniel, we're talking about Croots some more today. And
yes, we
Mr. Carlton Madden comes in. To the podcast Locked On Bulldogs is getting the treatment of who he is, who we think he will be next year, and then what do we compare him to as players in the last segment, or players prior or possibly current, depending on how we look at it. So Daniel, Mr. Madden, who is this kid? Who are we getting in this recruiting cycle in Carlton?
Well, Ceder Grove High School down in Ellenwood, and high school teammates with Kristen Miller, who we've already talked about on this podcast. But Carlton Madden is he plays in the defensive front. That was his position in high school. And by the defensive front, I mean he played a little bit everywhere in
wherever
the
you
defensive
wanted to put him.
front.
Middle linebacker? Sure.
Put him on the edge, put him in the middle linebacker spot, put him on the outside linebacker spot, whatever you need, hand off the ground, hand on the ground, whatever you need him to be doing, he was doing it. Projects really at Georgia to be an outside linebacker, 6'3", 240, somewhere in that neighborhood. Projects as an outside linebacker, and he was a kid really that you see this happen from time to time. It's always my favorite when it does. We are famous on this podcast for saying what two groups of people, Clint, don't exist? What are the people that don't exist?
And insiders.
The gurus and insiders, that's fake news. Okay. And here's an example of a kid, Carlton Madden, who the gurus and insiders, they did not have anything on this kid. He was non-existent. He was not even being looked at, not even being spoken of. All of a sudden, the University of Georgia, they find themselves watching quite a few Ceder Grove games because there's a ton of talent on that team. Kristen Miller, hello, and others. They find themselves watching quite a few Ceder Grove games. And they said, hey, who's that? And
who's flashing?
Let's get him on campus. All of a sudden, he gets on campus. He was a Colorado commit, but he got on campus, started talking to that Dan Lanning, and he said, "You know what, Colorado, it's been real, but we're gonna have to break this off." And then, lo and behold, Clint, all of a sudden, Carlton Madden, he got two, he got three.
Keep going.
He got four. He got all four of them stars.
Clint,
he just started getting stars on stars like he was playing Mario Kart, and he was in last place. Everything he looked at all of a sudden was a star, and he just all of a sudden. I think one recruiting service gave him a bullet bill. I think that's how low he was in the standings. I think one of the recruiting services, the question mark block opened up and he got a bullet bill out of it. Listen, what matters is that Kirby sees this kid, Dan Lanning sees this kid, and they say, this kid's got talent. He's physical. He's strong. He's fast. He's athletic. He's got good hands. He had to miss some time during his high school career because he transferred in and out, moving schools, which happens.
Sure.
I guess that happens now. I don't know.
I have no idea. I literally have no idea. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So he doesn't have a ton of tape, but the coaching staff sees him and they say this kid can play, and sure enough, he can. Clint, he's kind of a hybrid, do it all, but I do think you're going to see him coming around the edge a bit more than most other things.
Stop me if you've heard this from this recruiting cycle before, Daniel.
Okay.
Will continue to, just an FYI. Tall, athletic, muscular frame that's explosive, can use his hands, and plays all over the defensive front.
I feel like we've been doing this series where we've been going through these recruits, Clint. Let's just say that's not the first time those words have been strung together.
And it won't be the last.
No.
FYI, the defensive staff, Kirby Smart, came in with an edict to the defensive staff and said, here's the prototype I want. Go out and find all of them. And Georgia did. And this kid fit that bill. They were at the games. They said, hey, hold on a second. He's 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 235 to 255. Insanely fast, plays all over the place, athletic. And when he puts his hands on somebody, they move around. We should probably check this kid out because that's exactly what Kirby told us to go do.
Yeah. And you get those guys. Listen, did Georgia have any problems putting three interior linebackers on the field at a time this last year? No,
Nope.
Because they were three of the best 11 players on the field. Does Kirby have a problem putting three defensive tackles out on the field at the same time, and Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt and Jalen Carter? No, he does not.
Nope.
Because they are three of the best 11 players on the field. Kirby says, I want good football players. I want them to be versatile. And I want to be able to coach them up and put them in the right scheme so that we can cause havoc on the field. And that's exactly what a guy like Carlton Madden can do. Let's get into how soon we expect him to do that in segment 2, which is what we will talk about. Will he see the field in 2022? But first, Clint wants to tell you about Run Your Pool.
Run Your Pool. March Madness is, look, guys, it's here. Okay? It is here. Daniel.
It is here.
It's March, y'all. We are just here.
Georgia going to make the tournament?
No, let's not. Can we stop? Can we stop?
But what if we win the SEC tournament?
No.
We could be the only team to win the SEC tournament, and the NCAA tournament's like, actually, still no. It's a hard pass from us. We're not interested.
Look, here's the deal. It is March Madness. Are you going to go with the usual, or are you looking for the best? People over at Run Your Pool and us, we've done our homework, and we're running our brackets over at runyourpool.com. Along with standard brackets, Run Your Pool offers a game types like Survivor or Pick X, both really fun in their own way. They have options to edit scoring, and they offer more intel to make your picks. All the stuff you will not find over at ESPN or CBS. Clearly, we love Run Your Pool because, like I said, we're running our brackets ourselves. There's no truer test than that. If you want to play against us for a shot at cash prizes, join us at runyourpool.com/lockedon. And while you're in there, create your own pool for you and your friends and your family. Enter Pure Madness at checkout for $10 off your custom pool. All the rules and details are available there. That's runyourpool.com/lockedon. Enter Pure Madness for your chance to win cash prizes.
All right, Clint. What do you project this young man, Carlton Madden's immediate future at the University of Georgia to be? Meaning he is on campus enrolled right there, getting all settled in. Spring football coming up. G-Day, obviously. Hopefully be out there on the field, barring any, physical limitations.
Yep.
But as we get into the fall and we get into the upcoming season, do you see a place for this kid to see the field? If so, what is that avenue? And how difficult will it be for him to ascend the pecking order and find a significant role on this team this year?
Look, this is actually going to shock a lot of y'all. Inside linebacker is not an open competition. I'm here to just tell you this right now. We got 2 kids who are in inside linebacker. I know they don't have a lot of experience and they're coming up fresh. Inside linebacker is on lockdown, y'all. We got 2
This is
studs
Clint.
coming up.
By the way, if you think you're listening to this podcast and you think that Clint is talking to you right now, he's not. This is Clint trying to preemptively talk me off the ledge because he
We're talking to ourselves.
That in about 3 months, I'm going to be coming in hot with some real significant Daniel Downer takes about how the defense is going to be awful and we don't have any proven talent. And so Clint is already kudos to you, sir, for preemptively trying to
laying the ground. By the way,
up.
I think like the top 10 skills that I have in life, one of the top 10 skills is in fact dealing with a curmudgeon-y, angry Daniel. Like there's a system to it. Step 1 is you have to make him believe what he wants to believe. So you accept it and you like join in with him. You commiserate with him. You don't try to fight him right away. That's no. You just ride.
You can't just come in swinging. It's not going to, you're not going to, that's not how you do it.
No, you lay groundwork so that then later when you go, but
that's right.
But maybe just see this off ramp. Daniel goes, oh, I see. Inside linebacker is on lockdown. We got 2 kids coming in. Outside linebacker, Daniel. A lot of change, a lot of movement, a lot of talent. You want to talk about a recruiting cycle that we got talent upon talent just stacked for days. It's this. It's outside linebacker. But with that being said, I think there's a pecking order that still needs to be sorted out as the season progresses. I could see him playing meaningful snaps on a rotational basis at pass rushing downs next year at Georgia. I don't see him redshirting. I see him playing downs. I see him next year getting his shot because that's the place. Like look at backer, outside backer, edge, getting after the quarterback. We've already talked about it with a lot of these guys, and he might not have the talent as somebody else. But again, Daniel, that's what he's been told his whole entire recruiting cycle. Like he's been told his whole entire recruiting cycle, you're not as talented as the other guy. And he's just proved himself to win a scholarship at Georgia. So do I think right now we have more talented people? I do. Mikael Williams, Marvin Jones, like they're insane. Don't count this kid out. There's a good chance he gets meaningful snaps at outside backer, edge rusher this year.
It feels like every year there is a 3 or 4 star who comes in as a freshman at the same position as a 5-star. And seemingly before the season even begins has already passed him in the pecking order. I don't know if you need examples, but I could give them to you. Like, what about Todd Gurley and Keith Marshall?
Oh,
Keith Marshall, the 5-star. Todd Gurley, the 4-star. What about more recent examples like last year? Let's go Kamari Lassiter and Nyland Green.
Here we go.
Okay, you remember those? Nyland Green, 5-star by all recruiting services.
Yep.
And he did not even sniff at the field last year. Now, listen, I'm not writing Nyland Green off. Some people develop at different rates. People come in with different sets of skills. They come in different places. Kamari Lassiter, some people had him as a 3-star. But this kid's right out there competing for playing time. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with Carlton Madden, but here's what I will say. A freshman will play meaningful downs at edge pass rusher this year for Georgia.
And early on, too. Early on in the season, not later. Early.
Yeah. Because listen, Robert Beal is a steady force, and I am very high on MJ Sherman. Okay?
Yes.
There are other guys. Chaz Chambliss. There are other guys who bring skill sets, and we will see how those guys develop. But you expect to see a bit of a rotation, and you expect at least one of these edge guys to get onto the field. And so I'm not going to sit here and predict that it's going to be Carlton Madden, but it definitely could be, because again, you see it every year. And I don't know if I've said this before or if you've heard this, but it's because there are no such things as gurus or insiders.
Do you know? No, hold on. There is such a thing as an insider. Do you know what they're called?
Coaches?
Coaches. There you go. There it is.
Okay. Well, I guess let's wait till the insiders start to weigh in going into the spring game, and then maybe we'll have some more insight into the pecking order. Let's move on to the old friend, the old companion that we all love dearly, the NFL comp, the player comps, where we talk about these completely unproven talents.
Yep.
Never played a snap of college football.
Yep.
And we wildly and irresponsibly project,
throw names out there like it ain't nothing,
who we believe that they could ascend to. And it makes people so happy when we do it. And so we're going to continue to do that. But first, we're going to tell you about betonline.ag. Clint already mentioned the NCAA tournament's coming. And this truly is the only thing I need to say for the whole ad read. The NCAA tournament is coming. It's in less than 2 weeks. Selection Sunday's in less than 2 weeks. You understand? That Monday, Clint, we getting on here with them bracket. We doing a whole show. We doing the bracket fill out. I can't wait. Okay. We should get like a big board, like behind us, where we fill in the bracket. Like, can I get like Clark Kellogg's set up? That's what I want. NCAA tournament's coming, and betonline.net is the place that you and I will be headed to, Clint. It's the place that you, the listeners, should be headed to as well to place all of your wagers come tournament time. They will have your Final Four picks, your Sweet 16 picks. They'll have game-by-game, over-under spreads. You could create a parlay. Give me a good old-fashioned 32-team parlay where you attempt to pick every game successfully in the first round against the spread. And that is, if you don't sprinkle like $1 on that on the betting sites, you're not doing the NCAA tournament right. We'll walk you through it all, but betonline.net is the place to go. They are the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, the only place that Clint and I trust. And right now, when you go to BetOnline and you enter the promo code Locked On, you get a bonus on your initial deposit. They give you free money just in time for the NCAA tournament. Conference tournaments in basketball, in college basketball are coming up. You also got the second half of the NBA season, the NHL. You got golf getting into full swing. Don't bet on Phil Mickelson to win any tournaments, but other than that, you're good to go. BetOnline.net is your online sportsbook expert. All right, Clint.
All right.
We're back,
these comp.
And it's player comp time. We're going to get after these comps. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I give you the floor, sir.
Well, I'm going to take my player comp. You were trying to speak to me earlier.
I was
in a loving and supportive way, and I greatly appreciate it. And so I am going to, in an effort, I'm going to give back to you. And I'm going to give a player comp for a team that I know you love because you lived in this part of the country. I know that you're a huge fan of the Seattle Seahawks, Clint. Aren't you? Aren't they a team that you deeply enjoy?
Yep. I punched a wall when they lost the Super Bowl because they didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch.
That is correct. By the way, did you see Marshawn Lynch on that show Murderville that's on Netflix right now that has Will Arnett in it?
No, I didn't, but I will.
This is a freebie, not a sponsor. You need to go onto Netflix. You need to watch the show Murderville that stars Will Arnett. Marshawn Lynch was the guest star on the show, and he did a fantastic job, I must say. All right.
I see what he does.
What if I were to tell you that when I look at this kid, Carlton Madden, I see a little Bruce Irvin in this kid, Clint? You like that? You like that comp?
Look,
you know about this guy, Bruce Irvin.
I know about Bruce Irvin.
Yeah. He's fast. He's physical. He plays the game like he's angry all the time. That's my favorite thing. Like literally all the time. But he'll get after the quarterback. He's a beast in the run game. Bobby Wagner stole all the headlines off of that linebacking core in Seattle. This is another reason I kind of like the comp, because Bobby Wagner was the media darling. He was the everything talent. And we've just said for his entire career, Carlton Madden has just been kind of flying under the radar, sort of going unnoticed, just sort of quietly doing his work. And that's what Bruce Irvin was on those Seattle Seahawks teams, including the Super Bowl champion team that where he was a leader on that defense. Tremendous long-time NFL career. And I think Carlton Madden measures out to have potentially a similar type career.
Look, that's a great guy. If you don't know who we're going to go back and look, he was instrumental in that defense. Wasn't the show-stopping force. And I'm going to go another guy who was instrumental for a quick season. And if he could prolong it a little bit more, we're going to stay West Coast. Coming out of college, this kid had everything in the world. He didn't have long-standing success, but Manny Lawson for the San Francisco 49ers, outside linebacker, kind of very, very similar vein. Athletic, tall, lean, kind of a tweener. He would go drop back in coverage. He would stay in. Coming out of college, had all the measurables in the world, and not highly heralded. I think, what was it, Manny Lawson? Was he NC State? I think Irvin was West Virginia. I think Manny Lawson was NC State.
Irvin was at West Virginia. I don't know. A North Carolina school was what was coming to mind, but I don't know if I could come with NC State.
Yeah. But very, overlooked, plays very physical. The Irvin, I like that because he does play mean all the time. It seems like Carlton got a little chip on his shoulder, and it's not a bad chip. Like I don't mean that disrespectfly. Okay. Just like Lewis Cine has a chip on his shoulder, which is why he comes down to the box looking to hit you with bad intentions. But again, a tweener, somebody who can play with the hand off the ground, come off the side. All that being said, we think a kid who can have a very high ceiling to get drafted and go play meaningful snaps for a playoff contending team in the NFL and be an integral part of a defense.
And may see the field for Georgia this year. So Carlton Madden, it's a name to know. If you didn't know it before, you need to learn it. Excited to have him in the fold as a Georgia Bulldog. Can't wait till we get closer to G-Day and we get to see some of these guys in action. Obviously, Clint and I will have more on the 2022 class. We'll have more leading up to G-Day as we get closer to getting to watch the Georgia Bulldogs take the field. There is a team we cheer for, Clint, that is defending champions that are going to take the field on the opening day that they are meant to take the field. And we are going to get to see them celebrate that championship as they return to the field. It won't necessarily be every team we cheer for in Georgia, in the state of Georgia. But it will be that way for the Georgia Bulldogs. So get excited about that. Clint and I will be back tomorrow. We got more things to talk about, more players to go through, and more Georgia Bulldogs coverage for you here on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll see you.